We often believe that safety surrounds us at all times. But sometimes the most ordinary people, the most seemingly trustworthy ones, hide secrets far darker than we can imagine. Today, I'm going to share with you 3 true stories from au pair's young women who once thought they were starting a new, beautiful chapter in life, only to find themselves face to face with unimaginable terror. Are you ready to listen? Story 1. The Mysterious Smile. When I first landed in the US, my heart was full of excitement. I was thrilled at the thought of spending a year as an au pair with a friendly American family. The Josephs lived in a quiet little town where the clean streets and luxurious homes gave off a sense of perfect safety. I thought I had gotten lucky. What I didn't know was that behind the warm smiles, something much darker was waiting. The Josephs had 2 sons, Brock, 12, a fairly normal and friendly boy, and Brandon, 9, who made me uneasy from the first moment I met him. He wasn't like any child I'd known. When we first met, his cold, unblinking eyes locked onto mine. He smiled a strange, unreadable smile and asked in a whisper, "Are you the new maid?" I forced a laugh, but something in my gut tightened. Over time, the unease deepened. Brandon was unpredictable, casually deceitful, and constantly tried to get others into trouble. One day he whispered that the last au pair had vanished mysteriously. I dismissed it as a twisted joke until I realized it might have been more than that. One night, exhausted after a long day, I pulled back my bedsheets and froze. Hundreds of sharp thumbtacks were scattered across my mattress. My heart stopped. That morning, I had caught Brandon staring at me through a crack in the door. I didn't tell anyone. I was afraid of losing my job, afraid of being sent back to France with nothing. Brandon's behavior became more unsettling. Sometimes while cooking or reading, I'd look up and find him standing completely still across the room, watching me with unsettling intensity. His gaze wasn't curious. It was calculating. Then one afternoon while gardening, I smelled something foul. I followed the scent to a freshly dug patch in the backyard. Beneath the loose dirt were the corpses of 3 rabbits arranged in a perfect circle, red string tied around each of their necks like some kind of dark ritual. I ran inside and told the Josephs, but Brandon just smiled and calmly denied everything. Tragically, his parents believed him. The nightmare reached its peak one quiet night. I woke suddenly, chilled to the bone, and saw Brandon standing beside my bed. In his hand was a large kitchen knife. That twisted smile was back on his face. He whispered just loud enough for me to hear, "The one before you slept here too." But she never came back. I screamed. The Josephs rushed in. Brandon claimed he was sleepwalking. They believed him. Days later, Brandon falsely accused me of stealing jewelry from Mrs. Joseph. I was fired immediately. I had no choice but to return to France, humiliated, heartbroken, and haunted. Less than 2 weeks later, they hired a new au pair. But this time, the girl didn't make it out. She went missing soon after. The police investigated but found nothing. No trace. I sat in horror reading the news, swallowed by the same fear I thought I'd left behind. Even now, years later, every time I recall Brandon's cold eyes and eerie smile, a chill runs down my spine. I can't help but wonder, what kind of person did he grow up to become? Story 2. The Invisible Watcher. When I arrived in California as an au pair, I quickly made new friends. Weekend nights were full of fun bars, music, laughter. One ordinary Tuesday night, I met Sebi. He was smart, polite, and surprisingly knowledgeable about German culture, which made me feel connected and at ease. But little things started to feel off. He somehow knew personal details I had never told him, like that I was vegetarian. He claimed he saw it on Instagram, but that post was from years ago and buried deep. One night while he was asleep and I was alone in his apartment, I glanced at his phone. What I saw chilled me to the bone. There was a folder labeled "Future Wife." Inside were countless pictures, audio recordings of our conversations, even hidden camera videos taken in my host family's house. Shaking, I found a detailed schedule of my daily routine cafes I visited, the times I was home alone, and a photo of my driver's license which I'd lost months ago at a party. I left immediately, silently. In the days that followed, CB bombarded me with messages growing more and more disturbing. One day, something personal I had lost appeared on my host family's doorstep. I felt like someone was watching my every move. I finally went to the police. What they uncovered was horrifying. CB had a history of stalking. 2 previous women had gone missing without a trace. Even though he's under surveillance, I never truly feel safe. Sometimes at night I wake up convinced he's still out there, standing outside my window, wearing that same cold smile that will haunt me forever. Story 3. The ride that almost wasn't. I left Canada for France to become an au pair, hopeful, excited. Leah, the host mom, seemed warm and welcoming over video calls. But things changed the moment I landed at Charles de Gaulle Airport. A woman claiming to be Leah's cousin greeted me. She was overly eager, yet kept glancing nervously over her shoulder. In the car, she chatted non-stop, but dodged every question I asked about Leah and her family. Then I noticed something horrifying. The car wasn't heading toward the address I had been given. Looking closer, I saw things that made my blood run cold: duct tape, small ropes, and the most chilling, someone else's passport wedged under the seat. Panic surged. I asked her to stop the car. She smiled coldly and sped up. When the car slowed slightly, I threw the door open and jumped. She reached for me, but I slipped away. I called the police as I ran. An investigation revealed a massive international human trafficking ring. Leah never existed. It was all a setup, a perfect, terrifying lie. I made it out. But even now, just thinking about how close I came to disappearing forever makes my skin crawl. And I still wonder, if I hadn't jumped out of that car, would I be alive to tell this story today? These stories remind us never fully trust first impressions. Sometimes behind the most welcoming faces hide the most unthinkable intentions. Have you ever had an unsettling feeling about someone, an instinct you couldn't explain? Share your experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next terrifying tale. Stay safe and stay aware.